If you guys are real fans, let me hear it. Plus Ultra. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Plus Ultra!
Alrighty, guys. Coming to the stage now, we have Caitlin Glass and Elizabeth Maxwell. Please give them a big round of applause, guys. Show them you're ready. They're here. All right. Well, first off, just want to say thank you guys for coming. A lot of fans here, real excited.
Thanks for having us. Yeah, so
All
happy
right.
to be here. Not very far from home.
Alrighty.
Oh, do I have?
I think we got, do we have 2 mics up there? There should be one behind. There we go, yeah. The microphones are hiding out on you guys. Now, you guys have you guys been here for a little, did you just arrive at Comic-Con or have you been here for a little bit? And this guy's the engineer at the television station too. We should be able to figure this out, right? There we go.
You're my hero, Caitlin.
We work with these for a living.
I can tell you guys have a natural chemistry, by the way. Do you guys end up doing this stuff a lot together?
Believe it or not, we realized that this is our very first convention together.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Although, I mean, Caitlin's one of my favorite directors at Funimation, so we work together quite a bit, but this is the first time we've gotten to do a con.
Now, Caitlin, you have a lot of writing credits. Or some, right?
I have some, yeah.
Yeah, you have some. Can you talk to us a little bit about those? Some of your
That's
favorites?
so interesting. Nobody ever asks about the writing
Yeah.
that I've done because it's such
You're
a
surprised
small,
when we caught
just
you
a
off guard.
little thing that I happen
Yeah.
to do. Let's see, what have I written? So I'm a director at Funimation, but my writing has been primarily for Bang Zoom, which is a company out in Los Angeles.
Okay.
And I started writing for them in maybe 2015 for a little show called Love Live's School Idol Project.
Okay.
And I started writing on it, and then they invited me to audition. So I actually got to be in the show as well as write it. And that turned out to be pretty important because a couple years later, there was a second series that Funimation got, and I was the Love Live expert because I wrote it and was in it before. So then I directed the second series.
Alright, so it's just much more than voicing the characters. You wear many hats there with
Yes.
directing, script writing, and also voicing. Like, how do you manage all those different jobs? And
That is an excellent question. Prayer? I don't know, to be perfectly honest. How I find the time to really act anymore, because directing is all-consuming. It is an all-consuming job, and it seems that every season we're given more work to do, but not more time.
It's kind of like working in the public school system.
Yes. Yeah. Shout out to all you teachers. Enjoy your last couple weeks of freedom.
funny you say that. I'm just now leaving the TV station to become a high school teacher this
Well,
fall.
thank you.
Congrats.
That is very admirable.
Alrighty, so Elizabeth, you voice many, many characters. What do you do to get into the headspace for a certain character? Do you study up on the Japanese dubs and try and put your own twist on it, or how does that go into your taking on this, like those endeavors?
What's
Yeah.
your process?
Well, you know, with anime dubbing, it is a little different because you are, you know, dubbing over the performance of an actor that's, well, already given the performance of the character. So a lot of it has to do with the preferences of the director, how closely they want to stick to the original voice and the original performance, how much wiggle room there is within that. But I personally, I'm kind of a type A, like, completionist sort of person. And so my big thing was back in the day, I always wanted to watch the entire anime that I was dubbing in Japanese first. But with simul dubs, that's made that quite a bit harder because they, you know, we're dubbing them at the same time as they're coming out in Japan. So I do as much research as I can beforehand. I usually don't have time to read manga or light novels, unfortunately. But yeah, I do try and check out the original show if I can, if I have enough of a heads up. Otherwise, we really kind of put our trust and faith in the director and in them giving us a lot of the context that we need for the show.
You know, you guys are both unbelievably accomplished in this area. You are. I mean, and a lot of people out here we've talked to some, and they have like a big curiosity about how you get started in this business. Caitlin, how did you get started in something like this?
Okay, well, I have a degree in theater from the University of Texas at Arlington.
Oh, how about that? Okay.
Yeah, so I started acting when I was a little kid, and then pursued it all the way through college. And Funimation, the company I work for, is based in the Dallas area, and so is my school. So really, if you live in DFW and you're trying to be a working actor, chances are you'll get an opportunity to audition for Funimation, and then you just see what happens. For some people, they may work occasionally, and you know, you pay your cell phone bill monthly with what you make there. For other people, their voice is just really the right type of voice for anime, and they'll work more and more, and it could possibly become a living. If anime voice acting is just a living on that, I think is pretty impossible. But you could be a voice actor on the whole and also do commercial and radio and that kind of stuff to supplement. But most of the DFW actors I know are incredibly well-rounded people. They're still acting on stage, they're auditioning for on camera, they're driving to Austin, they're driving to Louisiana, they're going all over the place. But I got my start because of my degree in theater and friends that I knew at Funimation that gave me a tour, and on the tour I was auditioned on the spot and hired. So, but I think the only reason I was hired is because I had been honing my talent in school.
Okay.
If I didn't know how to act professionally under pressure like that, I don't think we would be having this conversation.
Or when you get the opportunity, you've
Yes.
got to be ready.
Yes, you
Yeah.
can know all the people in the world who can help you get your foot in the door, but it's going to be your talent and your commitment to professionalism that'll keep you in the building, because that was in 2004.
Okay, yeah, here we are now.
Yeah.
Here we are now in front of a lot of, how many My Hero Academia fans we have out there? I mean, how about, I want to start off, I guess we'll ask you, Elizabeth, what is your favorite episode of My Hero Academia? Do you have one, first of all?
Well, it's a little bit of a selfish one. It's the episode where Midnight comes in to help Aizawa with class, and all the kids choose their hero names. Yeah. That episode made me laugh harder than just about any other episode I can think of. So.
How about you, Galen? What was your favorite episode?
My favorite episode is the episode where all the kids, the Class 1A kids, are moving into the dorm together, and they spend some time just kind of, Mina decides that they should judge everybody's dorm room decoration. So yes, so they go from room to room, and you get to see what everybody's private lives are like based on their rooms, and I think that's really, it was so much fun, and probably the most talking that Mina has done in any episode, and then we had to wait 3 seasons for it to happen.
So going back to picking your superhero names, what would your superhero name be?
Like if I got to choose Mina's name?
No, like your very own, personal.
Oh gosh.
So your own powers, your own
Captain Workaholic.
getting stuff done, 9 to 5.
Oh gosh. Well, to go along with, I guess I'll have to explain what I think my quirk would be. Somebody asked me this in line. So my friends that know me in real life and that work with me a lot know that I'm a very gassy girl. I burp a lot. Like basically if I've done voiceover for somebody, they have recordings of me burping because it just happens all the time. So I decided that my real life quirk would be kind of Willy Wonka-esque, and that I could propel myself with my belches and, either like move at super fast speeds or levitate or, whatever. So gosh, what would my hero name be?
We got a lot of creative people out here. I think a script
based
is
on that?
officially in the works right now.
I mean, I feel like the really simple answer would just be Gassy Girl. But
Yeah.
I'd like to maybe think on that and come up with something a little bit more eloquent.
We'll come back to you on that one, but I do want to ask you now, you see all these people out here, and you see, you guys were out there meeting with them prior to this. What is it like to see the footprint and the legacy that you guys have left already? I mean, this is these fans. For me, it's amazing to be out here and see this. What is that like to see the impact you've had?
I think it's remarkably rewarding and extremely important to our sensitive actor egos to have. It sounds cheesy, but it's true. Any actor will tell you we all have an ego, and it's healthy. It's good to have one. But we're stuck in a booth, or in my case, in a studio, working so hard, and actors who come in, they do their thing, and then they're off to their next gig, just trying to pay the rent. So this is the opportunity to see that the work we're doing actually matters. To you guys, because you're what it's about. Like, I work for a company, but I get more reward from seeing all of you than I ever get from my bosses or something. I'm not trying to poop on them. I don't mean it like that. It's just we're all so nose to the grindstone for all of you. So when we come here and get to see that you appreciate what we're doing, it means the world. So thank you very much for coming out.
And it's what we do, being an actor for a living. Well, I would choose nothing else in my life. I love my job so much. It's very hard. We have to constantly be on the move, constantly putting ourselves into auditions that 9 times out of 10 we're going to be told no. Like, there's so much rejection in this business, so much criticism, critique, hearing no over and over and over again, which is kind of one of the reasons, Caitlin kind of joked, like, you almost have to have an ego in order to survive, like, all the rejection and the beatdowns that you get. So the work can be really, really hard. And for me, getting to come out and do the conventions and meet you guys is like the thing that rejuvenates me and like reminds me why, like, one of the reasons why I love doing what I do so much. So, as she said, thank you guys for being here.
Yeah.
And thank you for your love and support.
And I don't think you guys realize it. You're oxygen, to these guys in a way. It really does. Yeah, this is a special deal to be a part of, and part of this work you guys do. Some of it is anime-wise with a group, right, in a booth, and then sometimes you're on your own.
Most of the time,
you're on your own.
Yes.
So that leads to my question. I guess we'll start with you, Kate. What is it like to find that gear? Like because you have to, obviously it's probably a little easier, a little more natural when the cast is in the room. When you're by yourself, how do you find that voice?
Well, you rely on the director a lot. It's really this little trinity of actor, director, and engineer. And I think the actor really has to let go of the need to know everything, because it's hard, because they just can't. If you're in a play, you can read the entire script and you know how your character fits into the world of the whole story. You know all the other characters' arcs. But when you come in to do some anime, maybe, like Elizabeth has said, you've gotten to see the one episode you're about to work on, but maybe you haven't. You haven't read a script, so if you've seen it, you've watched it in Japanese with subtitles. You come in, you don't really know what's happening next. You hope that the director knows. In the case of simuldubs, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. If it's an original story, we often only know one more episode ahead of what we're working on. So as an actor, you have to trust implicitly whatever the director tells you. They'll tell you everything you need to know usually about just your character in that moment. But once you understand that, honestly, that's all you really do need to know, it's incredibly freeing, because it takes away all of the other denominators in the equation. It's just 1 + 1 = 2. This stuff that they're telling me about me makes me react thusly. And it's incredibly organic and spontaneous, which is the best kind of acting. And you have a template. It's not like the director's telling you, this is happening to your character, and so says this, and then you react. You have a picture. You get to see it. So whether or not the other actors are there in the room with you, you listen to the Japanese performance completed, and sometimes the other character in your scene is there, sometimes they're not. But that's okay. Oftentimes it's a friend of yours, so if they're not there, you can imagine their voice, and you take it a cue at a time, and you start to get into a rhythm.
Hey, do you guys mind? I have a little gray sweater right over there. Do you mind passing it to me? It's a little chilly up on this stage. Thank you.
All right, and you guys, you said you've been doing this since 2004.
Yeah.
Can you ballpark how many characters you think you voiced, or like?
How many characters do I think I have voiced? I don't know. Maybe like 150, 200. I don't know.
Well,
did you look it up?
I did some research,
Oh.
and Caitlin, I have 262 credits.
No
for you.
kidding. All right, cool. I'll take
Crazy.
it. I'll take it. That's amazing.
And how about you, Elizabeth? Do you know how many you think you've done, ballpark, in that area?
Like total?
Like total.
75.
Maybe double that.
Really?
I've got 150 credits to you.
Wow. And I was gonna say, in all honesty, those aren't even correct because I know I've checked, like, I mean, IMDb and Anime News
Yeah.
Network and Behind the Voice Actors, they do the best they can,
Yeah.
but not everything gets added. So, like, I know for sure that not all of our credits are on there.
Yeah, credits.
Wow, that's
credits are
crazy.
often, at least in anime, based on what gets listed for the Japanese credits. We have to match them. So if Elizabeth and I were randomly in some episode as additional voices, but there were like 14 other additional voices actors, they can't fit that many on a screen. So honestly, they'll be like, all right, well, the first 8 get to be in the credits. Or if this character wasn't listed in the Japanese credits, then they're not listed in the English credits either. So she's right, we could have more than
Even more.
No, yeah.
All right, so season 4 coming out this October. Are you guys excited? The momentum, like, it's been building up to a great upcoming arc, and it's going to be simuldubbed, right?
Yes,
So,
Of course.
naturally.
so I'm sure the stress of that's going to be no.
You don't have to direct that one.
I don't have to direct that one, so it's fine. I usually go in and go, yeah, get him, Deku! Like every week, at least I say those 2 things, and that's it. Save Bakugo! Like, this is the things that I say.
Yeah, then I'm sure like Midnight though is gonna.
I get to do something cool.
I hope so.
Okay. Well,
I mean, I
no
honestly,
spoilers.
the
No
thing
spoilers.
is I honestly know nothing more than you guys do. You guys may know more if the manga's ahead and you're reading it. Like, I can't even give spoilers because I have no idea what's in store, and I'm just as excited to find out as you guys
We
are.
haven't started working on it. People are like, what's it like? What's it like? I don't know. It's not October.
When you see, this have such success, and taking off like it is, I want to ask you, where does your inspiration come from? The bigger this gets, does it change or does it always come from the same place? And I'm talking about My Hero Academia, specifically for this character.
Inspiration. I think, I'm not entirely sure, but I'll just kind of answer what I feel about the show in general. I'm so grateful for it because it seems like a dream to be a part of something this big, what is essentially for me like the 3rd time around. When I got started in anime, it was in a little show called Full Metal Alchemist, and back in 2004. And then that thing was the biggest thing anime had seen since Dragon Ball, I guess, or maybe like Evangelion or something, but it was even more digestible on the whole than Eva was. And to be in that while it was exploding, and it was before simuldubs and before streaming, so people were so into it and they were sitting down every Saturday to watch it on Toonami, and to go to conventions as episodes were airing on TV was like nothing any of us had ever experienced. And that was super cool, and we're like, wow, that's never gonna happen again. It's like lightning in a bottle. And then 5 years later, they're like, let's make more Full Metal Alchemist. We're like, okay, here we go again. We did it, and then other big shows like Ouran High School Host Club, like these massive things, thank you, but like, okay, so then that happened. You're like, all right, awesome, great job, guys, let's just keep making the little shows that 10 people watch. And here we are, and My Hero is happening, and it is just bigger than anything. I don't want to say it's bigger than the others, it's as big, I think. It's a phenomenon, and it's crazy that here we are doing it a 3rd time around, and I'm so grateful, so grateful.
You see the loyalty that you have here, obviously, in your followings. I want to give you an opportunity. Elizabeth, anything you're working on now that these guys would be surprised about? Something you're working on right now?
Oh goodness, that's one of the few bad things about being a voice actor is that so much of what we do is NDA protected, which means non-disclosure
Sure,
agreement,
yeah.
which means that we can't talk about it or we lose our jobs.
Okay, yeah, we don't want that.
I mean, yes, I am in an anime that is airing right now called Fruits Basket that Caitlin is the director on. Yes. And I am so in love with that show right now. I don't think I had ever watched a shoujo anime before. I just kind of figured it wasn't really like my cup of tea. And from being in this anime, I've started, actually watching it, and I have been astounded. Like, I cry every episode. I've gotten so attached to some of the characters. Like, I feel like I haven't been this attached to an anime that I was in since Sakura Quest.
Wow.
So if you guys haven't seen Fruits Basket, I highly recommend checking that out. I also think the performances in it are amazing. I don't know if you guys know Laura Bailey. She plays Toru, the main character, and she absolutely makes the anime for me. Her performance is so genuine and charismatic and heartwarming. And I mean, be on the lookout. I'm in a couple of games that will be coming out over the year. And are there any Rooster Teeth fans out here? So if you guys were a fan of Nomad of Nowhere, the one of the creators of that show, Jordan Whitman, he split off to start his own studio, Portside Studios, and he's creating a new show called Port by the Sea. And I'm not allowed to say specifically what my involvement in it is, but I can say that I am in it. So
Just be on the
keep a lookout
lookout
for that
Congrats.
too. If you like Nomad of Nowhere, you will love this show too.
I love Nomad of Nowhere.
So it's not just anime. Like you said, it's video games, it's other animation. Out of those three, what is harder to voice? What do you think is more difficult to
Video games.
video games?
Yeah. And when we say they're harder, it doesn't mean it's impossible or we don't want that gig. It's when you are cast in a game, you're very excited because it's labor intensive. You do a lot more in a video game to really create the voice of the character. At least that's how I feel. I think a lot of the work is done for us in anime because we base things off of the Japanese performance and how the character is drawn. But oftentimes in games, they're animating it separately at the same time that you're putting down the voice stuff. So you don't really know. You have a picture, one like still picture of your character. And then because most games involve a certain amount of fighting and action, it is more laborious on your voice as well. But it's really fun. It's totally fun.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And you also have to find a way, a lot of times, there's a lot of exposition
Yes,
in video
so
games,
much.
like explaining quests or reminding people what they need to do and finding ways to like make that interesting and genuine.
realistic.
Yeah, that can be challenging. But I do feel, for me, I've always equated anime dubbing to being like the Latin of voice work, or like I call it like the ballet of voice work, because it's one of those things where it's very technically difficult, and to merge like both sides of your brain, the technical half and the creative half. I feel like if you can do anime dubbing really well, there's not a lot else in the game world or the voiceover world that you can't do well.
Yeah.
Like it's great training.
Well, I guess we're going to open it up to you guys in a second because we got a lot of people here. We got a lot of great questions. The one thing I wanted to ask you, Caitlin, before we get to them, how many? You mentioned all those credits. How many voices, or what's the most voices you have voiced in one episode?
I think. I was about to say 3. In an old episode of a show called Negima, I play 3 voices in one episode. Okay, maybe it's just 2. Well, I play 2 characters in the show, and one character is a robot with a British accent, and then there's an episode where you see this robot's prototype, which is the smaller little version, and she's more. She speaks with a Cockney British accent, so they would be in scenes together. me talking to my Cockney self, so that was fun. But in the same show, I play a girl who is kind of like a rude, cynical classmate that nobody likes, and it turns out that online she's like a cosplay idol that nobody knows that she has this alter ego. So completely different voices. So that's kind of two different voices for the same character within the same show. But then a couple years ago, I did a dub for a really cool show called Skip Beat, and it was a famous show from 10 or 12 years ago that got kickstarted in 2016 to finally get a dub. And my character is an actor, or she's learning to be an actor. So in any given episode, she has multiple voices because there's her actual voice, and then she usually has a voice that she's giving to whatever role she's playing, and then there are all the voices in her head, and she also has these like inner demons that she deals with that are literal like ghosty flying demon things.
Yeah.
All of those have a voice too. There's one where she's dressed as a chicken and she has a boy voice. It's really a great show.
And you voice all
of
of
them.
Wow.
It's the most like a prelay old school cartoon voice acting that I've felt I've ever done.
How about you, Elizabeth?
You know, I feel like by the time I started working at Funimation, you guys had more actors, and you weren't doing the whole like, we're gonna have you be 3 characters in the same anime thing as much anymore. So, I mean, in all honesty, I don't know if I can think of anything where I voiced more than one large character.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible that I got pulled in to do Walla, like
I think
on
that's,
a show.
That's a reflection, though, of the growth. I mean, it truly is. I guess now we can open it up for questions. I think we got a lot of people here. We will go first to the young lady back there with her hand up and the headphones around her neck. Hang on one second. The microphone is going to come to you. Yeah. And if you don't mind, give us
Hello?
Yeah, that's great. Give us your name if you don't mind, and then the question.
Grace.
Hi, Grace.
Hi, Grace.
I actually want to ask you guys about Noragami Season 2. And
Oh, please do. I could talk about Noragami for
mean-
hours.
yes,
Yes.
Bishimona's best girl.
Amen.
Well, for Caitlin and Elizabeth, what was it like going through the scene where Kazuma tells Bishamon the truth? Where she cries a lot.
Oh. So if you haven't seen Noragami, I highly recommend it, and not just because I directed the second season, but because it is an excellent show and one of my favorite anime.
I was gonna say, I know I'm biased, but it is in my top 5 favorite anime as well.
Yeah. So we'll try not to spoil it for those of you who haven't seen it, but Elizabeth's character Bishamon has a really tough time. In season 2 focuses on you, actually. It was, man, it's hard when you know you're gonna have to direct your friend through something really difficult, but you also recognize their caliber of talent, and I knew that she would not just like rise to the occasion, but kind of jump to the occasion. It's weird to be like, yes, I can't wait to have my heart ripped out and it get recorded for everyone to hear, but it's, as an actor, from my perspective, it's remarkably cathartic. So I am honored anytime an actor steps into the booth and is willing to trust me to guide them through this process, because they have to maintain this heightened level of emotion while I pick apart every sound that they make.
Well, and that's, a lot of people don't realize that in dubbing, at least for me, the dialogue is not that hard. What's hard is the fight noises, it's the crying, it's the stuff that's not verbalized, that doesn't have words, because you're having to match like strange sounds or inhales and exhales, and in this scene, I won't give you the context, but it's really quite a breakdown, like an emotional breakdown like I haven't really seen in anime before, where this woman, she's a grown woman, is truly sobbing like a child. I mean, listening to the original Seiyu, the Japanese actress, do it, it tore my heart out. It was an amazing performance, and to have to dub that is so much harder than any dialogue, because you're having to emotionally go there while still maintaining enough sense to watch the screen and differentiate, like, oh, that's a small sob, that's a wail, that's an inhale before she starts stuttering in her breath again. Like, it's so detailed, and to be able to maintain that emotional state with that intellectual state is very difficult.
I want to ask you a question. What is your emotion and energy like following work like that?
Oh, I mean, I was genuinely crying, sobbing. Like, Caitlin walked out of her desk and like brought me a box of tissues into the booth, and in all honesty, I feel like that's actually like when I feel like I became friends with you. Was like working on that show, because we shared this kind of like intense emotional experience together, and you know, she was guiding me through it, and you know, it's like you put your trust in somebody like that, and it's hard not to walk away feeling a bond with somebody after that.
You can tell, by the way, by being around you guys. You really, it's genuine. Yeah.
But you know, after you've done something like that, or I know as a director that I hate to say it, but I got what I needed or whatever, because I still have to watch a booth review of everything, and then after it gets mixed, I watch it again, and then when it goes to home video, I'll maybe watch it a third or fourth time, and if the actor still evokes the same emotional response from me, it's so hard to watch scenes like this because it's my friends. I'm like, gosh, I don't know that I can watch this. Elizabeth's gonna make me cry again. But that's usually how I know, yeah, we got it. If I cannot stand to listen to it, then we did it right.
Any other questions out there? Good. We got one in the front row. If you don't mind, just say your name first and then ask the question.
I'm Laura.
Laura?
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi. Elizabeth, what was your favorite episode of Fruit Basket?
My favorite episode of Fruits Basket?
My favorite was Uotani's Pass.
I mean, so yes, I obviously am very biased towards those episodes because, you know, we got to see her backstory. So I will, yes, those, but also from what I've watched so far, the episode where we got to learn about Momoji's past was really heartbreaking and special for me too. Is it Michaela Krantz?
It is Michaela Krantz,
Who voices Momoji, and I think that she's doing an incredible job.
So
I love her performance, and I thought that episode was really touching as well.
Fruit Basket is one of my favorite shows.
Thank you.
Any Fruit Basket fans out there? All right. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. I'm sure we have more questions. Over there in the front row first.
Hi.
Hi.
My
What-
name's Emily.
Hey, Emily.
Caitlin, what was your favorite arc of My Hero Academia?
Well, it's really hard for me to answer that because, as I mentioned early in this panel, I work a lot, which means I don't get to watch many things for fun, and that includes My Hero. So I really only know about the episodes that I'm in. So I remember like the sports tournament being really fun to record. So I guess I could say that. So the one, because I'm on Bakugo's team, I think, and I get yelled at a lot by Clifford. So it's just like every day, really. Yeah, but maybe the sports tournament.
Really, that's funny because I mean I don't know Clifford as well as you
doesn't
do.
yell at me,
Okay,
no.
I was gonna
It's a
say
joke.
I've worked with him on 2 shows, and I always thought it was so funny that he ends up often voicing these really like yelly, screamy characters because he's so chill in real life. Like he is just like the nicest, most grounded, chill guy.
But I think he's high strung though.
Wow.
Yeah. He can seem pretty relaxed, but if you know how, he can get set off by things pretty easily. I think he has a temper.
Well, I guess he's got to dig somewhere for Bakugo.
Okay, we got a question over there. My man had a question in the gray t-shirt. Sorry to make you run all the way over there. Gray t-shirt, third row.
I run for a living.
What's your name?
My name's Sheldon.
Hi, Sheldon. Nice to meet you.
So for Monster Hunter Stories Ride On, for Captain Simone, what was your favorite episode?
Who's you asking that of?
You.
Me? I wasn't in that.
What?
I was in that, but I didn't play that character.
Oh.
I play a weird old lady
I
whose name I cannot recall. But
I thought-
it's very fun.
So my dad, he actually looked it up, and then I thought it showed that. I think it was wrong then.
Yeah, it could have just been
Yeah.
a mistake.
We
Sometimes
can't
lists-
always trust the
yeah.
internet. I
No,
think that's
that
yeah.
is just a good rule for life.
Yeah, that is a good rule of thumb. Okay.
Indeed.
Next question. Anybody else? We got one right there. Oh, you just down the road. Yeah. We'll get you in the back next.
On My Hero Academia, what's your favorite character?
Ooh.
I love Bakugo.
Nice.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, I do.
Gosh, I feel like mine changes all the time. I feel like I'm developing a new appreciation for Ida. I feel like I didn't fully appreciate him in the beginning, and perhaps it's because we're kind of alike, and sometimes, like in real life, so.
It's too close to
Yeah.
home, huh?
But I also, I really love Mineta.
Oh, me too.
Awesome.
I do love him.
Brina,
He's horrible.
Yeah, Brina Palencia's performance of Mineta makes me giggle like
Dude,
crazy.
That's who I wanted to be when I auditioned for the show, was Mineta.
Mineta?
Yes. I was in there reading for it the whole time going, this seems like something Brina will end up booking. And she did, but man, I wanted to play him so bad. He's so awful.
Okay. We'll go to the next question. We got someone in the back, a girl in the back with her hand up. There you go. With the white shirt. She's clapping her hands right now. Okay.
All right, I got it.
How about the hustle, by the way, from our microphone guy? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Bethany. I am cosplaying Ochako, actually. And I have two questions, if
Okay.
you guys don't mind. One is, how did you guys find out that you guys wanted to be voice actors?
Okay.
Well-
That's the question.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I've wanted to be an actor since I was 5 years old. I've always known that I wanted to go into acting, but I only ever really thought of film and TV for some reason. And it wasn't until I had moved from LA to Austin and was hanging out with a bunch of friends talking about how, like, yeah, I'm gonna have to be more creative and like how I pursue acting because Austin's a smaller market than LA is. And they were like, you know, you play video games, you watch anime, you have acting training, you have a good voice, like, why don't you do voiceover? And I was like, huh, why have I never thought of that? So when somebody told me is when I realized that I wanted to be a voice actor.
Yeah.
Similarly, I never set out to become a voice actor. As mentioned before, I have a degree in theater, and it was always my intention to just keep pursuing that, go to graduate school, study the classics, etc. But anime was a hobby of mine, and one day I watched an episode of something all the way through to the credits and saw that Funimation was based where I lived, and then suddenly took more interest in just finding more things out about that company. And within a matter of weeks, like, my friend from church told me that he was an engineer there and could take me on a tour. So unlike generations of up and coming actors who really seek out voice acting only, and in particular, that was not the case for me.
It sounds like in both cases, though, it was meant to be. You have another question?
Yes, sir. If you could cosplay any anime character, which one would it be?
Before I answer that, why don't we pick who the next question is so he can run to them?
Okay, look at you. Great idea. Okay, next question
But that
over
way
there.
he won't have to run.
Yeah, it takes time.
Right there in the back.
I have always wanted to cosplay Winter from Ruby because I love her outfit so much.
Do it. Do it.
But I definitely would have to hire somebody because I can't sew a button back on a jacket to save my life. So.
Let's see. It's funny that you mention it because just this weekend, my family are here. I brought them with me from Dallas. And my aunt found at her house a bag that had a Winry costume in it that I made in 2005 for a fan film in which I played Winry. And I'm like, you're joking. And they're like, do you think it'll fit? I'm like, no, probably not. I take it back to my room and try it on. It took some doing to get the pants on because I weigh like 30 pounds more than I did then. But it still fits. And there are pictures up on my Instagram if you want to see them. I didn't have the wig, but that's okay. Caitlin's Voice is my Instagram if you're interested.
Okay.
So I cosplayed Winry for that fan film, and I also cosplayed Haruhi back in 2008 at a con, and nobody like really knew who I was in costume. They knew that it was Haruhi, and that's what was so cool. They would stop me just to take pictures because of the costume. They didn't know that I was also the voice.
That's really awesome.
All right, you have the microphone right there.
Okay, so my name is Jinx. This is for Elizabeth Maxwell. I wanted to know what your favorite part about My Hero Academia about playing Midnight. What was your favorite part about playing Midnight? Like, what was your favorite episode of playing Midnight?
Kind of did that one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of my favorite things about her is that I feel like she adds so much levity to the show. You know, it's like I feel like when the show is getting like really intense, it's like just throw Midnight in there and she'll make everyone laugh. But yeah, and it's like I kind of love how ridiculous she is. She's a bit inappropriate, obviously, but she's a very passionate woman, and I do appreciate playing people with a lot of passion. But yeah, I still think that when she helped the kids choose their hero names was probably my favorite episode for voicing her. Although I also really liked the scene where Jamie Markey, who plays Mount Lady, where Midnight and Mount Lady were kind of like squabbling with each other.
All right, we've come to the time now. We got one last question here, and then we'll let the ladies go.
My name's Bella.
Hi, Bella.
Catlin, how did it like being in Fairy Tale?
How did I like being in Fairy Tale?
Yes.
I love being in Fairy Tale because Evergreen is a big, ridiculous character, and those are one of my favorite types of characters to play are big, ridiculous people. And she thinks very highly of herself, and I also love that she bickers with Urza all the time, because Urza's played by Colleen Clinkenbeard, and I certainly don't bicker with her, but like our voices are really similar, so we kind of compete for a lot of things, so it's very funny to me that my character like doesn't like her character. I think that's a riot. And I love as the story progresses that I'm paired up with Christopher Sabat as Elfman because he's also big and ridiculous. And if you have to be in a show with Chris Sabat, big and ridiculous is the way to be. So she's so bossy.
Your character sounds a lot like my character in Fairy Tale.
Yeah, you know, it's a large cast.
Thinks a lot of themselves, bickers with Urza.
Yeah.
Well, alrighty, guys. That's it. Thank you, Caitlin and
Thank
Elizabeth.
you all so much, guys, so much for coming.
Go away.
And if you had questions that you weren't able to get answered, please feel free to come ask us at our booth.
Yeah.
We'll be signing again right after this.
Yeah.
And I think we have a panel with Austin tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Sure did, tomorrow afternoon. Now, before you guys go, do you mind leading our fans with one last Plus Ultra?
Sure.
All right.
We just gotta count it off or something?
Yeah, we'll just count it down. All
Okay.
together now, guys. 3, 2, 1.
Plus Ultra!
Thank you guys very much.